right, we're back. Sorry, not Gate 14 podcast. We are back. Avery might be a little bit on the IL. The boys in shambles, but we're joined by a very, very good friend of the show. 200 innings pitched last year, 3.6 ERA, 2021 All-Star. Most importantly, I put him in my back pocket 3 weeks ago when Michigan beat Ohio State. It is my good friend, Chris Bassitt. What's up, Chris? How we doing, brother?
Shambles. I can't.
Dude, how's the offseason going, man? I mean, obviously, we've been grinding Fortnite all the time, just buzzing away here. You've been spending time with your kids, but how are you doing? What are you up to?
Yeah, man, just doing that. Just trying to. Obviously, we have like 6 weeks left until spring training, but I feel like this time of year, like I blink and all of a sudden I got a report. So I'm literally just panic trying to get everything done before I got to leave in 6 weeks.
Does your wife sneaky hate baseball season? Because like right now, it's like she's just chilling. Obviously, I mean, she has you to help her out with the kids and stuff like that. And then you go back to spring training and you're just mucking it up with the boys, probably golfing, just living the dream. Like, does your wife just hate spring training?
I would say what it's not so much like I hate spring training. Man, this hat's bothering me. I wouldn't say it's not so much like hate spring training. I would say it's more so like so like for instance, so like when we were with Oakland, she really had a lot of fun with like going back to spring training. So we like, met all of our friends and all that stuff. Well, like, and then going to the Mets, then it was like not hate spring training, but it's tough because like she doesn't know anybody, so she can't like do like dates with all the other girls and the kids and stuff like that. But now like, and then obviously going to like the Blue Jays is tough. It's tough as well because like we didn't know anybody, like truly know anybody. But now like she's friends with the Gausmans and the Swansons and obviously the Springers and all these type of people with kids and families. So yeah, she's super jacked about it.
Okay.
So she's excited to see all the little kids again. I mean, it's honestly is more so like once like the families become friends, it's a lot more fun to kind of like look forward to spring training.
Are you an Arizona or Florida guy for spring training? Where would you rather be?
No comment. No, honest to God, Arizona spring training absolutely kills Florida spring training.
Who are we kidding here? It's the best. Arizona's the best.
It's literally, it ain't even close. Like it's not even close.
I feel like Florida because it's just like the weather there, and I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong on this, I'm not a science guy, but doesn't the ball travel more in Florida than it does in Arizona, Avery?
No, hell no.
No? Okay, never mind then. I was going to say maybe the stats are padded and stuff like that, but what I wanted to go into, Bassitt, is I believe you told this to me and Avery. You don't throw in the offseason. And one thing that's like a conspiracy theory that we got last year was, oh my God, Bassitt's throwing like 88 in spring training. Can we debunk these fucking dumb idiots right now when this happens this year? And can you just kind of address that? Because that was really pissing me off last year. And people were like, the Jays signed this guy, he's throwing 88 in spring training. Like they overreact over spring training stats. Yeah. But where are you at right now? And why do you do that?
No, so you're partly right. I throw in the off season. I just don't throw like a ton of bullpens, and like you're not going to see me on Instagram. Like I'm not throwing off a mound. Like I'm not coming in like full bore. So like I'm throwing now, and I'm throwing for the next like month. But it's like just getting my arm going. Like it's not like I'm not trying to like come into spring training throwing 93, 94 miles an hour. So like I'm trying to come into spring training, honest to God, I'm trying to come into spring training like 86, 87. Like as crazy as it is. Like because I feel like in my head, the way that I think is every single year I go about what went right and what went wrong. And then I'll just and I feel like everyone should do that with every walk of life, like with obviously Gate 14, with everything. Like what went right and what went wrong. Let's keep doing the things that went right, and let's change the things that went wrong. So for me with the Mets, this is obviously 2 years ago. I came in full bore, ready to go in spring training, and I was feeling really, really good in spring training. And then the end of the year came, and I was just gassed. Like I was like, man, like my shoulder hurts, like my velo I feel like is like dropping because I feel like I have to throw, like I'm trying to throw hard and it's just not coming out right. Like the ball's just not coming out right. My body's fatigued. So I was like, okay, well, how can I possibly feel better at the end of the year? Obviously training wise and all that stuff. So I bumped back all my training like a month. I just said, you know what, like we have to try to steal we have to try to steal these days when it doesn't really matter and try to add them to the back end of the season. So what I did, I came up with a plan. I was like, all right, like usually I'll start throwing, like 2 years ago I started throwing, like I would say like December 1st. Now it's almost like it's closer to like end of December. And there's a lot, everyone's different. Like, there's a lot of people that just don't stop throwing. And I'm just not one of those guys. Like, I'm like, listen, my body needs a break. I know my body. Like, I'm super flexible. I'm not going to tighten up. Like, a lot of guys worry about like tightening up and their shoulder tightening up and like whatnot. That's not me. Like, I can not do anything and be super loose. So yeah, I don't worry about spring training and trying to impress people and trying to impress, say, Pete and Schneid's and all those guys. Like, I want to impress them when the season starts.
Yeah.
I don't want to impress them in spring training. Like, I don't need to impress them in spring training. They should know. They know by now, like, hey, this is what this guy does. Like, he's going to come in throwing 86 to 88. And what I'm trying to get to is when the season starts, I'm trying to be 90 to 93, 94. And that's still not even the right velo for me. But the one caveat, and I know we talked about this, I think we both talked about this. When I say both of you guys and me. The one caveat that kind of worries me, and I've changed it where I'm starting to throw a little earlier, is that last year, I felt like I wasn't quite ready enough out of the gates, but I was able to kind of sustain it, and not just like blow a season up within the first month. But this year, to start the year, is an absolute gauntlet.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I feel like if I'm not prepared in April, I could easily be walking out of April with like a 9 or 10. So like, so, and you'll have all of freaking Canada being like, this dude's washed. So I'm going to be coming into spring training a little bit more prepared arm wise, conditioning wise, strength wise. Me and Scott Weberg, we're great. We're unbelievable when it comes to that and getting that aspect right. But we're definitely going to come into spring training, I would say like a week or two earlier than in the past. But like, make a long story short, it's like 2 years ago, the Mets, I was gassed. I was tired as hell. Last year, threw 200 innings, and I felt like I'm being genuinely serious here. I felt like I threw another 100 and be fine. Like,
Hell yeah, dude.
The way that we changed training, the way that we changed rehab, the way that we changed off-season work, in-season work, I felt great throwing 200 innings. So again, now it's just what I did right, what I did wrong, and hopefully be better next year.
Well, you talk about getting stronger. You were what, 4.1, I think, ERA first half, 2.8 second half. So I think the numbers
second half was ridiculous, bro. That was insane.
But
you and Kikuchi and Gausman and I guess everyone, to be honest, were just on the fucking loose second half.
Yeah, but I just think my first half numbers were bad because I don't know the breakdowns, but I think my April was terrible. Like I made like
the first start didn't help.
Well, the first start, I felt like I don't know, dude. I don't know if St. Louis had something on me or not, but I've never seen that before. Like I legit, like I walked out of that start. I was like, I don't even know what the hell just happened. Like everything I threw at the plate, it was a home run somehow. I was like, what the absolute F is going on here?
Yeah, that was Yeah, I guess especially with a starting pitcher, you're 1 or 2 bad starts a month, and it just kind of ruins the entire month. So that does make sense. But the next thing that I did want to talk about is obviously going into this season and stuff like that. You're here long term, obviously. Are you more locked in with like free agent signings? I know we've talked about it, you and I individually, but are you like more really paying attention to like what this front office is doing since you're here longer than I guess a couple of like majority of the pitching staff and stuff like that? So are you like really paying attention to like what the office is doing and like what's going on here?
Yeah, no doubt. I'm in talks with Pete. I've had multiple talks with Ross about things. I've had multiple talks with Schneids. I've had multiple talks with a lot of people. And I mean, obviously, like we talk a lot about it. Like, and I know a lot more things than you guys know. But like, listen, Johnny Sources is not going to get disclaimer. Johnny Sources will never get information from me. All right, like you can bug me all you want. You're never.
I've retired from the Sources game though. You know that,
I
Bassitt. I'm
understand
4-0.
but I can't even tempt you. I can't do it.
I know, that's fine, and that's fine. I'm 4-0. I retired on top. I'm tired of body bagging Ben Nicholson Smith and all those little make believe beat writers for the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm done. I'm over it. It's fine. I'll retire 4-0.
Have you done any recruiting yet this offseason for anyone?
I put some names in of friends that I like that I think could really help us. But yeah, I just think, to answer your question, yes, I'm definitely highly invested. Obviously, I'm here for 2 more years. Hopefully, I'm here for longer than that if everything works out. So, I mean, I love the team. I love the guys. So, yeah, I'm definitely invested of trying to make the Blue Jays as best as they possibly can be for the next 2 years, and obviously longer after that.
So one of the big things for this offseason was people kind of shitting on Toronto, right? The American media. As an American who hadn't played in Toronto before, what do you think is the biggest misconception of what people say about playing in Toronto?
Here's the biggest issue with that. And I honestly saw Gausman. I love Gausman. I love what Gausman said. But I was like, listen, I played in New York. Like, you're trying to attack a media base. When I say a media base, these reporters that are literally stationed in New York or LA. Like, I'm not trying to like discredit. Like, I love Cleveland. I grew up a huge Cleveland fan. But the Cleveland fan, like the Cleveland reporters, don't even hold a candle to like the 4th best reporter out of New York or LA and stuff like that. So this whole like Toronto sucks or Toronto's not a place to go is literally just these reporters talking from LA and New York, and they're trying to protect their own ass. Like they're not trying to do nothing but protect themselves. Like this idea that like players across the league love Toronto. Love Toronto. They love going to Toronto. They love Toronto, playing in Toronto. So if you just like blind like anonymous voting, is Toronto good or bad? It would be like 95% Toronto's unbelievable. Like, so this idea that Toronto sucks is just stupid. Like it's literally just major media companies trying to like protect their own job. Like, yeah, they want LA to be great. They want New York to be great, because if LA is not good and New York's not good, then their jobs are trash. Like their jobs are bad. Like if Kansas City's unbelievable, if Detroit's unbelievable, if St. Louis is great, if Milwaukee's great, all these smaller beat writers are significantly more powerful than LA beat writers and New York beat writers. So it's literally just these major beat writers just protecting themselves. And obviously you have Passons and you have all those guys that will always be the king. But it's the main LA, New York beat writers that are just like literally like writing these dumb articles about how Toronto is not as good as New York. Again, you poll 95% of the players will say that's not even close to being true. Like not even close.
That's fair. I mean, and talking about the free agent signing stuff like that, I mean, I know you were pumped about it. You talked about it with me about him being a great piece. The Kevin Kiermaier signing coming back. What is he like in the locker room? I mean, everyone fucking loves this guy. I mean, like even the young guys, you know, it's good when you got guys like Ernie Clement going out of his way to text me, David Schneider going out of his way to text me about how fired up he is for Kevin Kiermaier to be back, and that guy's a veteran presence. Or you can make the case of the best center fielder ever, right? I mean, just the best defensive center fielder of all time. So it's always a good guy to have in your corner, right?
No doubt about it. He just solidifies our defense when it comes to like when you start moving pieces, you just don't really know. But we have the best outfield in baseball. Like, there wins above replacement and all that stuff. Like you can start arguing all that, but like defensively, we want to be super aggressive pitching wise, and it's a lot easier to be super aggressive pitching wise when you have guys like just run the ball down. So the Kiermaier thing is absolutely massive because one, from a defensive standpoint, it solidifies our defense in the outfield, and then two, he's a pro at bat. Like he literally will take his walks. He plays the game the right way offensively. I know, like, personally, in talking with him, like he's obviously wanting to be a little bit better offensively. I know he got banged up a little bit last year, which I think hurt him a little bit. But overall, what Kiermaier brings, I don't know what 29 other teams are doing, letting him come back to us. I really don't.
Yeah, he said there was no teams really interested in him, which is really fucking weird. I don't get it, but obviously a good defensive piece last year, and a guy that it's like, I know fans were like loser posting, like we went from Ohtani to this, but Kevin Kiermaier is the best defensive center fielder of all time, and stats go back to show for that. I mean, maybe obviously a Mike Trout's in there as well, but he's so good. He's such a good locker room guy. Is that a guy that really rounds out the clubhouse? Really, like, just everyone loves him, and just like he gets along with everyone. He mentors the kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's A+ in the locker room, A+ on the field. Like we are absolutely happy as hell to have him back. And I know he said like not many teams wanted him or no teams want him. I'm truly not even sure what he said, but like right now, like no teams want anybody, and like this whole free agency standpoint right now is kind of crazy. Like you look at the amount of guys that are out there right now, it doesn't make sense to me. Like there's a lot of stuff from a free agent standpoint that just doesn't even make sense to me. I'm not saying like collusion with the owners and anything like that, but like the fact that you have major players still out there at this time of the year is crazy. Like usually a lot of like 80% of those guys are gone by now. Like it is, so like the fact that we have Bellinger still unsigned, the fact that we still have Chapman and JD Martinez and Turner, and obviously you go from a pitching standpoint with Snell, and you got Montgomery, and you got all these guys still out there. Usually how free agents work is like the top guys got to go before the middle guys start getting taken. Like all these teams that are interested in, say, let's say Bellinger or JD Martinez or whoever, those fourth best DH or the fourth best outfield, the fourth best first baseman, or whoever it may be, they're not going to have any interest until those guys go. Like, because all those teams are still looking at like, maybe we can get a Bellinger, maybe we can get these guys. Like, so like, I think if Kiermaier would have waited until those guys all would have went, his interest would have drastically increased. But he loves Toronto, he loves the clubhouse, and he said, I'm not going to wait.
For those like Bellinger, Chapman guys, you think teams are looking too much into kind of advanced analytics and not like looking at how much they really impact the teams? Because Chapman, incredible defender at third base, right? And it's like, okay, what's his bat going to do in 7 years when we sign him to this deal?
Yeah, honestly, I don't have it. Obviously, I'm best friends with Chappie. I talk with Chappie a lot. But when it comes to free agency, I truly don't ask a single thing. I've talked to Chappie so much this offseason, and literally 0% of it has been like, hey, have you had offers? Hey, what team are you going to? Hey, how much money are you going to ask for? How many years you're going to ask for? I've not asked that question once. Some people might say like it's not inappropriate for me to ask, but to me personally, I find it really inappropriate. So
Yeah.
I don't I don't ask any questions like that, like none. So like I don't have a single clue who he's talked to. I don't know what money he's asking for. I don't know how many years he's asking for. Because personally, like that's between him and his family. That's not between me. So I'm in the blind. Like I'm literally, I know as much as you guys know.
Do you feel like, especially majority, like a lot of these free agents? I mean, I don't think Blake Snell's has kids and stuff like that, but do you think there's a lot more pressure? Like, for example, a guy like Kevin Kiermaier, who's a family man who already lives here, whose family obviously wants to know what they're doing next year, for him to kind of sign earlier than majority of the other. I know Chapman doesn't have a kids and stuff like that, but do you think there's more pressure for the people that do have families to sign early, and I guess maybe not take less, but make a decision quicker than what they would make if they didn't have a family and didn't have kids and stuff like that?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, just from a convenience standpoint, like it'd be it's so much easier when you have a family to be like, hey, like, where are we staying for spring training? Where are we staying for the season? Is the family even going to be able to come because we don't even have housing yet for spring training? So yeah, like, I think obviously I think January is going to be very, very hot with all the market, just because I think you got to get these guys somewhere. So I think January is going to be where everyone kind of falls in place.
And where does your kind of optimism come here with the Toronto Blue Jays? Obviously, I mean, we've talked about this before. It's like the best off-season acquirements. I don't know if that even makes sense. Acquisitions the Jays can make is just their big dogs being big dogs, right? Guys having better years than they did last year. A lot of down years last year for the Toronto Blue Jays, which was obviously very weird for us as fans to watch, because we're used to the Toronto Blue Jays always being at the top for home runs hit, runs produced, all that type of stuff. So last year was kind of a flip-flop. But are you kind of in the same boat where you're like kind of looking forward to seeing the bounce backs from like Varsho, Vladdy, Kirk, Springer, like all these guys? Are you more in that boat than pick up a big bat and stuff like that?
I mean, I'm in both. Like, I want all the big bats, but I also want Vladdy to come back and Varsho to come back. I want everybody, honestly. So, yeah, I think we are in a very unique situation where we have, like, so say, like, I'm very high on Francis. I love Francis. Obviously, Ricky being there, waiting, chomping at the bit, and he could be unbelievable. You have Manoah. Like, we're in a very, very good situation where we have legit potentially 6 or 7 big league starters.
Yeah.
But like the thing is, like, everyone talks about like trades in the starting rotation, which is I guess it's a possibility, but like there's no rush for that at all. Like, and I'm saying that from just a personal standpoint. I have not talked to anybody about this, but like, why rush trading someone right now? Like, you can trade someone in spring training. Like, you can get 4/5 of the way through spring training and then say, hey, we like Manoah looks unbelievable, we're penciling him in. Like all these guys look great. Okay, we're good. So now we can move somebody. But like, say we trade, for whatever reason, say we trade 2 starters to get pieces, and then all of a sudden we have 1 or 2 guys go down in spring training, and now you're like, gosh dang it, I wish we didn't make that trade. Like, yeah. You don't need to trade people right now. We are in a great spot where like we can sit there on our hands and just wait, because like, starters are going to get hurt in spring training. It always happens. Reliever is going to get hurt in spring training. It always happens. Hopefully, like last year, we were super healthy. But across the league, there's going to be major starters to go down. And then all of a sudden, the Toronto Blue Jays are sitting there with 6 of them. And now you're going to have a phone call and their value went sky high. So like, what you could have got now versus what you could get then is significantly more. So I think we are set up great. I like Ross, I think, has done an unbelievable job. I know me and you have talked about this. I think Ross has been an unbelievable, and obviously Mark too, has been unbelievable when it comes to like making this roster, and the rosters, like the health wise of the roster, like how good the roster is unbelievable. So like, you don't need to panic because we have the guys there. And now it's just like, just do the smart thing for the short term and the long term.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, we talked about Bowden Francis. I mean, this is a guy who, in my opinion, and I talked about, we had him on the podcast a couple weeks ago. It's like he has earned a right to be like, to at least fight for a starting position or starting pitcher spot. I mean, the guy had a 1.7 last year. His stuff is fucking nasty, right, Avery? We were talking about his baseball savant. His stuff is unbelievable. His pitches produce a pretty decent amount of swing and misses. When you see a guy like that, so young and have so much success in the major leagues at his age, is that something where you're like looking at him like, man, you just got it? Like, have you talked to him and just like talked about like, or even given him advice from stuff you've seen from him so far?
Yeah, we all talk to him a lot. Like Francis is unbelievable. Like how mature he is mentally, how much he wants to learn. Like he's one of the few guys. Like he was a bullpen guy last year, obviously for us. And when the starters are throwing bullpens, like bullpen guys don't watch the starters throw bullpens. That's just the way it kind of is. But Francis is in the bullpen watching the starters throw bullpens. Like Francis is like want to like learn, his want to like be better, his want to like honestly, like I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think he wants to be a big league starter. I think he definitely can be a big league starter. He has everything. Now it's just a matter of just getting the opportunity. And I think he will at some point. But again, we're in a great spot where, I mean, as crazy as it is, I can see Francis being the closer. I can see the Francis being the eighth inning guy, the long relief guy, the starter. I can see him doing any role because that's how good his stuff is. But at the end of the day, like starters are kings. So I know he wants to be a starter.
Yeah, he came on here and said that I was kind of talking the same thing. Like, hey, who are you talking to pregame when people are throwing? He's like, yeah, you know what? I tried to go to the starters every time. I want to kind of talk about some of your pitch mix stuff. Our friend YJ's wanted to know why you throw sinkers up in the zone so much compared to everyone else. Because we look at your heat map here, there's not a lot of down and in sinkers. There's a lot up in the zone. When did you start doing that? What is your thought process behind that?
I mean, when I came up, everyone was like sinkers down and away, sliders down and away. I mean, like, I'm sorry, sinkers down and in, sliders down and away, just like exit at the bottom.
Ground ball, yeah.
Well, then everyone started just dropping their barrel at the bottom of the zone. And it's from a hitting standpoint, honestly, if you talk to a lot of the guys, like they want the ball at the bottom of the zone. It's a lot easier to hit at the bottom of the zone. You just drop the barrel to a ball. And so the more and more I went up, the more and more I had success. And the more and more I was like, instead of like throwing sinkers down and in, I started throwing sinkers like middle in. When I say middle in, I mean like black inside, middle height. And they had a lot harder time getting it to it. So this idea of throwing like fastballs down the zone, it's just a lot easier to hit, I think. So yeah, I mean, I think your damage goes up the more you can, like the more you stay like the middle height, but I think you could get a lot more easy outs at the same time.
This is the question that's a little bit off topic that I want to talk about. Me and Avery, we always obviously we do the live streams for Gate 14 and stuff like that. When you're pitching and you're pitching at your best, we always talk about how miserable you look when you're on the, like when you're pitching good, you're just like you pretty much look like what you're pretty much just like fuck this. When you are locked in, do you sometimes look back at the games you're pitching at and when you're on the mound and the camera pans to you and how fucking mad you look when you're even shoving? Like, do you notice that type of stuff or have you always been like that?
No, I mean, I definitely kind of notice like mannerisms, stuff like that, and like facial expressions and stuff. But like to me, like when I'm at my best, I'm thinking. I'm not trying to like overdo anything. Like so, like I think my thinking comes across as like he's pissed off. So I just try to like the more and more I can have like a clear head and like kind of like think rather than like something pisses me off or something like makes me mad or something like I get emotionally invested in like the other team or emotionally invested in the moment or the game. the worse I become because I'm not thinking of what I want to do. So like I'm just trying to like stay like literally in my little bubble on the mound and just like tune everything else out, like literally everything else out. And that's it. Like so, yeah.
Like
Do you
for
think
example, obviously the 200 innings last year, you hit it in the last game, right? I mean, was that something you went into the game kind of talking about with Pete? Like, listen, Pete, I've never done this before. I want to throw 200 innings this year. I will do whatever it takes. Was that like a pre-goal for you going into that game? Like, did you know you were going to do that?
No, I mean that never once did I talk about it with anybody. Literally anybody. Everyone knew. Like literally, I didn't have to say a word to Snides or Pete or anyone. Like, everyone knew, but like the caveat was like we got playoffs in like 6 days. So like the only possible way that I could have done it was just been super efficient. And so like in my head, I was like, okay, like I have a chance to do it. Like I can't have like long at bats. I can't have walks. So like yeah, like I got lucky because I had got a lot of quick outs. So yeah, it wasn't something like I had to address with anybody. Like everyone knew.
Because that rocked, man. I mean, obviously, even just like looking back on it, like the standing ovation you got coming off the mound and stuff like that. I obviously wanted to kind of go a little bit more into the Toronto fans about that because I mean they love you here, dude. I mean, honestly, you've kind of embraced the city well, obviously, and all that type of stuff. But what is your time been like here, especially dealing with Toronto sports fans, stuff like that? You came from New York fans where they will let you have it. You'll get death threats, you'll get tweeted out, like people will say this shit to your face. To I guess more of like a friendly, understanding type of fan base here in Toronto. So, what has that difference kind of been like for you?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, I think from a baseball standpoint, it's been unbelievable. Like Toronto's been unbelievable. Like the one thing that like it's not a regret by any means because it's my kid, but like the one thing last year that like hindered a lot of like say like the things we want to do or like not like go out to like nice restaurants or go out to like I'm a big outdoors person, like go out to like different places outdoors, like New York, the other, I mean, I went to the city like one or two times, like, but like Toronto, like there's so many like outdoor things to do, like 2 hours outside of the city, like so many like lakes and stuff I want to go to. But, like last year, having our boy, we weren't really able to do any of that. So I'm super jacked to like kind of wander out this year now that we kind of have not a newborn, but he's obviously much older and he can travel in a car and stuff. But I mean, as a fan base, as a city, it's really hard to beat Toronto.
I like talking uniform stuff with you. I know you do all the different gloves, different colors. City Connects feels like we're getting them this year. You're designing the City Connect jersey. Where do you start? What does it look like?
The black jerseys, fuck. I've said this time and time again. I've been roasted for this on Twitter and social media for it. I want a black jersey. I want it back.
I'll be honest with you. The more and more City Connect jerseys that get rolled out, the more and more I hate it.
Yeah, they stink. Most of them.
Most of them are trash. So,
which one do you like? Which one do you like the best?
You pitched against the Reds when they were wearing it, right? Or was that Barrios? That might have been Barrios. The Reds one's fuck.
No, I'm pretty sure I pitched against that game. I'm pretty sure. The Reds ones weren't bad. Like San Diego, I liked theirs.
Yeah.
But overall, I just don't like them. Like the White Sox one, like the all black White Sox one. That was one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that one just because it was kind of like that is like Chicago White Sox. But overall, for the most part, a lot of them were just terrible. So like I think it's a cool idea. I think it's cool to kind of get the fan bases going, but if I'm trying to design a City Connect jersey for Toronto, like I would say I'm staying with the white, but I'm making it like you're gonna have like stuff about Toronto, stuff about Canada. Like you're gonna have the tower on there, you're gonna have like say things from Vancouver and things like that. Like you just put like emblems and stuff on the jersey to show like you're all of Canada. rather than like some crazy color scheme. I don't care about the crazy colors.
Well, Bassett, you do know, I think you have the harsh reality of this. We fucking hate the red jerseys. Everyone on the planet hates the red jerseys. I hate the red jerseys. Maybe the most. I've been kind of like the spearhead, the advocate for it. The Jays refused to win in the red jerseys. And was that something that you kind of learned as you went? Because I mean, you picked the red jerseys a couple times. Was that you or Barrios this year that picked the red jerseys?
Me one time. That was it. That was it. Literally, I picked them because I was like, dude, these things I like them. Like
I think they look cool.
They're new. Like I've never like worn before. No one's worn them, and I was like, they became available. I'm like, I'm wearing them. Like we're rocking. And then like we wore them, and then like, we sucked, and everyone's like, bro, the red jerseys, like they're like cursed, dude. Like do not wear them. And like so like literally every player, every fan was like, dude, these red jerseys are not it. Do not wear them. And I was like, what? And yeah, so like I was like, all right, never wearing them. So like we wore them one other time. I think it was for Canada Day, and that was it. Like we never wore them again. Like people hate them.
Insane. And another thing, speaking about like big game stuff like that, you obviously got to see this year the Joey Bats jersey retirement and stuff like that. When you guys are like warming up pregame, I know Garrett Cole cried about like how long the ceremony was and stuff like that. What was that ceremony like for kind of you? Like just being a baseball fan and getting to see like a legend here in Toronto be embraced. That game was fucking bananas, sold out. The tickets were like $300 for the nosebleeds. What was it like for you to kind of see it firsthand, the kind of reception you get here in Toronto when you're like a legend and you obviously have success here in the city?
Yeah, I started that game. So I was like, I knew going in the game's gonna be delayed, the ceremony is gonna be long, but like I mean if you watch like Joey Bats at all, like he deserves every bit of that. And like the fan base, how crazy they were, like, dude, that's so sick. Like that's like every player's dream, obviously. So I don't know how you get mad at that. Like it like I don't think when Garrett Cole gets his number retired or whatever it may be, like because I think he's definitely in the class of getting numbers retired and stuff like that. He's not going to want some starter to be like, hey, like you need to have this thing be faster. like so like enjoy the moment. Like you're just honoring an all-time great, and like it's sick. Like but like yeah, hanging the banner. Honestly, for the most part, for me, I would say the bigger thing is like him and his family, like seeing his family and like how emotional they are because of how much obviously they had to go through and invest for his career. Like seeing his family, that's what gets me, honestly, like his kids and stuff like that. That's the coolest part to me.
Yeah, for sure. And you playing in the AL East now and stuff like that. I mean, obviously you talked about like there's certain teams that you guys hate and stuff. Have you kind of in your mind opened up or started a rivalry with a certain team in the American League East that you kind of hate now, or like have you kind of started that? Because obviously for us it'll always be the Yankees. I hate Yankee fans. We deal with Yankee fans the most, obviously through this podcast and stuff. But is that like is there certain rivalries now that you've kind of starting to understand playing for the Toronto Blue Jays?
This is gonna sound bad, but no. Like I like Cora like as a person. Like I've played with the Mets with his brother. So like the Cora family, like I have high regards for like them. I love Boston. New York, obviously I like New York. I'm not saying I like the Yankees, but I like New York. I have so much respect and like admiration for like Aaron Judge. I think Garrett Cole is like the apex of pitching. Um, then Baltimore is like a cool story with all these like young guns. I have a lot of friends on Baltimore. Tampa, I have a ton of friends on Tampa's team. So like it's not so much to me like it ain't so much to me like I hate this team or that team. It's like to me, I'm like I hate every team because every single team is like trying to like beat us, and every single team's trying to win a World Series, and like that's something like we're trying to do. So like you're just trying to get in our way. So like for me, like I honestly don't hate any singular team. It's more so like you guys are trying to beat me. You guys are trying to beat us, and I'm just like, let's just not let that happen.
What are your some of your big goals going into this season? Because obviously 200 innings, kind of pinnacle, right? The Cy Young, stuff like that. For you, looking back, looking forward to this season, what are just some of your goals that you have?
I would say get 200 innings again, and then go much deeper in the playoffs. That's literally the two goals.
Yeah.
I mean,
And get you to pitch in the playoffs, man. I mean, fuck, that sucks. Like 200 innings, 3-6, you didn't even get to throw, man. I mean, obviously you're gonna go game 3, but damn.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But like, yeah, I would say that's the two goals. Is just get our team deeper into the postseason. Obviously, you got to get to the postseason, but get our team deeper into the postseason and throw 200 innings again.
And I talked about this with you, and I've talked about this with your brother. I mean, I need you to see the Rogers Center in the playoffs, man. It's fucking crazy. It's absolutely, like, I was there. The 8-1 game. Obviously, I don't want to bring that back up, against the Mariners. One of the craziest atmospheres I've ever been a part of in my life. It's like a 1 in a million. I couldn't even imagine being a player involved in that type of stuff. So it's going to be absolutely incredible. But this is the last thing that I didn't want to talk about, obviously. I mean, going into next year, we talked about all these guys coming back and all, like, where are you at right now with, like, your confidence in this ball club? And maybe just kind of talk to fans off the ledge, because they're obviously, we have tons of fans here talking about they want moves, they want transactions. And I've been kind of speaking about and preaching about, like, man, this team is good. I mean, we got Kevin Biggio, who made a massive turn in the second half last season. We got Vladdy, who was a former MVP candidate. Varsho was supposed to be good. Obviously, very down years. Springer's going to be good. Like, just maybe talk to fans here off the ledge about, like, how good this team is, even being in the clubhouse and seeing how they go about it every single day.
Yeah, I think internally we're making like a lot of really good changes, but I think for the biggest thing, like why I'm so like I'm chilling, like I'm comfortable as can be, is like we have the best pitching staff in baseball. Like, so like I don't worry ever really about the hitting side, because I'm not a hitter. I'm not trying to get into that realm of hitting. I'm not trying to go and tell people how to hit. But we have the best pitching staff in baseball. We have one of the best bullpens. We have the best starting staff. Starting always beats pitching. So my confidence is still absolutely sky high, because I think Kevin Gausman can win a Cy Young this year. And then obviously the rest of the guys, I think we're chilling, because
Kevin Gausman is, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can pump this guy's tires anymore. He's in big league. He knows who we are. There is a million people that tweet at Kevin Gausman about the Gate 14 podcast. He's going on fucking around the horn with that guy, Eric Kratz. At least he hasn't been on the Wilner pod, so at least we're cool with that. But I don't know where I'm at with K. Goss, Avery. I don't know where I'm at with this guy.
Well, the thing with him is I could watch him pitch every day and I'd be fine with that. So I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I guess that makes up for it. It's just once you embrace the brand, it's just like we're your guys forever. So I don't know. We'll see where Kevin, maybe spring training, Avery will get in his ear.
I think he's just building suspense.
Yeah, he's building suspense. He knows who we are. He knows who we are.
He knows the clicks game.
Taylor Gausman has liked our tweets. She knows, maybe she doesn't like the weed tweets. I don't know. We'll see. But Kevin Gausman is a fucking dog. I mean, obviously, and one guy that a lot of people have been talking about, and me and you talked about actually, Bassitt, was I actually want to end with this, obviously, is Kevin Biggio, man. I mean, you talked about how good of a hitter he is. You saw day in, day out how good he was defensively, how much he made up for Matt Chapman at third last year. The plays Biggio was making was insane, especially at second base as well. Just maybe talk about what you've seen as like a vet come from Kevin Biggio, how he goes about it, how he is in the locker room and all that.
Yeah, I just think he has like work ethic. To me, from a hitting standpoint, like how I grade hitters is like, do you take pro at bats or do you not really have a clue what you're doing? And Biggio takes pro at bats. Like the guy doesn't swing at balls. He takes his walks. I think his power numbers can be better. In the aspect of he just gets more at bats. I think he hit more home runs, more doubles. But we had a number of guys go down in the second half, and he obviously got a lot more playing time, and he started hitting great. He had, I don't even know, non-base percentage of 400. So the fact that he's willing to make a pitcher throw pitches where he wants them to, rather than just like swing at everything that's getting thrown at him. Like we need 7, 8 of those guys, and that's what makes really like teams really hard to pitch against, is like when you have pro at bats. Like the more pro at bats you have in a lineup, the harder the lineup is to pitch against them. Like, and so like to me, it's just like it's an easy one for me, because like I said, it's like how he's able to control the strike zone, how he's able to do what he wants to do, how he's able to move runners over, how he's able to play defense. I think it's just, I mean, I love Biggio, I really do.
So good. So fucking good. But anyways, Bassitt, man, I mean, obviously we're like, what, Avery, what was it? What did I say? 49 days until the first spring training game, which is still absolutely bananas to me. I still can't believe how close we are, but we're fired up for you, man. Obviously a good friendship we've started here, obviously through the podcast and all that type of stuff. So we're excited to see what you do next year, man. Massive part of the team, and let's have ourselves a fucking year. Why not us, man? I mean, this is going to be, I feel like this is going to be, there's a lot of haters this year. Jays are getting downplayed a lot. So I think this is going to be obviously the best year we've had in a long time. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to having you a part of it. So let's have ourselves a 2024.
Let's do it. Stay calm and trust the front office, everybody. Relax. Relax. You too, Avery. Relax.
Yeah, I'll be relaxed.